The poet William Blake once said, "The tree that moves some to tears of joy is, in the eyes of others, just a green thing that stands in the way of progress." Environmental activist, landscape architect, and environmental spiritual film producer Jim Law of VoiceEntertainment.net is one of those moved to tears of joy by a tree. In 2007, he led the grassroots citizens campaign to save Sedona's sycamores, a group of heritage 300-year-old trees slated for demolition to make way for the Highway 179 road expansion project near the Tlaquepaque landmark. Thanks to Jim and the efforts of many other local leaders and community activists, some of these trees were salvaged. While our story, Barking Up the Wrong Tree, documents the history and results of this campaign, we need to go back and take a closer look 1 year later at the status of the road reconstruction project and the impact it has had on the trees and our surrounding environment.
1 year ago, these trees would not have been here. There are 5 sycamore trees that line this beautiful roadway, creating shade and beauty for the people that pass them every day. But now, because of all the people that spoke up, the sidewalk doesn't go along the edge of the pavement. It's 5 or 6 feet in from the pavement. So all the trees are alive that you can see here, and there's a beautiful stretch of what will become landscape area on both sides. And nothing was removed. All it took is people speaking up and a realignment of this sidewalk, just making the sidewalk go around the trees rather than cutting them down, bulldozing them out, and going straight through. Some residents of Sedona are outraged by the Arizona Department of Transportation's decision to cut down large trees along Oak Creek at the location of the bridge. Some of these trees could be hundreds of years old, and we're very concerned about what could happen here.
My name's Eric Schroed. I've been coming to Sedona since 1952. I live over in Broken Arrow in my grandmother's house. When I was 10 years old, I used to swim right over here in the creek. We called it Frog Hollow back in those days. These trees were there then. That was before Tlaquepaque. It's been a wonderful, special site to my entire family for over 55 years now. And there's absolutely no reason to destroy it. There are options. I ask ADOT to please consider all the options and do something that's right for the environment.
Now, some of the first 2 emails I think that you might have received said 60 sycamores were going to be removed from the area, then it's just to create a staging area. That was totally incorrect. If they don't cut the trees down, then they need to protect the root zones and not compact the soil over the roots. You compact the soil and then oxygen cannot get into the roots and the tree becomes a hat rack over a period of 10 years. I believe the solution here is for ADOT to meet us at a round table and let the public have a say-so. Listen to our voice.
It's hard to believe for us that we're, you and me and all of us who were so involved during that time. It seems like, how could you not know? But people have their own lives, and there's people who've moved here since the planning process was completed.
I'm not against everything ADOT is doing. I just see that when it came to the creek bed area and when they start messing with the sycamore trees, that's what gets me all riled up.
It was decided by the community in the 18-month planning process that, first of all, that all intersection types should be the same, so that you wouldn't go through the corridor and you'd have one light and one stop sign and one roundabout. And so that was the first decision. The second decision was that the intersection type of choice would be roundabouts. The bridge, the Oak Creek Bridge, was always a major point of discussion in the community because it's such a focal point there of that beautiful little area down by the creek.
I have a couple of theories, and one is that the person who was designing it did not have an accurate tree survey. They didn't have a design that included the locations, precise locations of all these trees here. And that's what I'll say about it, because I think that had they known that, I would hope that they would not have plowed the trees down and figured that as their design. So that was a big part of it right there, is lack of really having accurate information during the design process. Every tree that you're looking at, every sycamore all the way down, is going to be damaged if they put their pipeline in right where the grass is. It's a huge storm drain. So I don't know why they can't move it out in the middle.
It is going to be, if you're on the side of the road, it's a lot easier than if you're in the middle of the road. It's also going to be more difficult for the city to maintain. A few times a year, they're going to have to park a big vacuum kind of truck in the middle of the road and clean out those storm drains. But we felt that it was a good way to really make those folks comfortable that we would not be impacting those root systems. On the other side of the road, there were 5 sycamore trees that were always slated for removal because they were in the path of the roadway. However, we were able to do some meandering and snaking, I guess, of the sidewalk to avoid, I think now we're avoiding 4 of those 5 trees. It's either 3 or 4. We had negotiations with a property owner there about his driveway so that we could save another tree. So it was multiple meetings and multiple discussions that led to some refinements to our design to be able to accommodate those concerns. Yeah, we're really committed to working with the community. We have been for several years, and we want to keep that up.
I really haven't seen any damage that's occurred here due to the construction. I've looked around, and every day I drive this route up and down, back and forth several times a day, and I watch what's going on with the construction. And they've been really good. They've been careful with the trees. They've put the sidewalks around the trees like I wanted them to, and many people had asked this be done, and they've been really cautious not to scar the trunks and not to bury the trunks in too much dirt. So they've taken care. I don't see any root damage. This message of saving the trees, it really goes out globally. It's all about our consciousness, how we think, and our thoughts truly do become things. So what has transpired since then has been some really good things. We ended up only losing 3 trees out of what we thought were going to be about 60 sycamore trees, which is great. And all they had to do was listen, and all we had to do was speak up.